Hello, I'm Bill Burr, and this is the Wired Autocomplete interview. You know, my favorite thing is when they say, he has offbeat good looks. That means if you weren't famous, you'd be ugly. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, what is Bill Burr's best special? This is like saying, which child do you like the most? Sophie's Choice. I loved Paper Tiger because I was in England, and I loved the challenge of that. And I loved Red Rocks because it wasn't even what I did, it was the crowd. And what I loved was how it was mic'd. You could hear the crowd. And if you can get through my jokes on the special, just listen to the audience. I would just say every once in a while I would say something really random and stupid. And people would laugh at the ridiculousness of it, but you always hear like one guy just go like, yeah! It wasn't a joke, it's just like, yeah, that's what I think that too, that makes sense to me. What episodes Bill Burr Breaking Bad? I did the car wash one first, then I did the one with Lavelle Crawford, where the guy drops the oranges and bangs his head. And I got to be in Saul Goodman's office, which was crazy because I was such an insane fan of that show. I probably got in, I think 2-3 seasons in, and I remember going in to Saul Goodman's office where he had the Injustice for All, whatever he had, We the People of the Constitution thing above his desk. I felt like I got sucked into my TV. It was incredible. And I did the train robbery, and I got to drive that big dump truck. And I remember the stunt guy was like nervous, going like, well, you don't know what you're doing. I go, well, I'm only going half a mile an hour. I just let the clutch out and give it gas. I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know if I answered your question. I mean, I'm sure it's on IMDb. How come I'm your secretary? What made Bill Burr famous? What made Bill Burr famous? What made me famous? 30 years on the road, 7 specials. I mean, I was definitely a ham and egger. I was not... So you can see, blessed in the looks department. You know what's funny? I did a movie one time, and we were shooting outside, and on like 3 different occasions on that shoot, someone would drive by and be like, hey, Bill Burr, go fuck yourself. And I'd be like, hey, how you doing? What helicopter does Bill Burr fly? Like most people who learn to fly helicopters, I started off with Robinsons, and then I wanted to move up, and I was just like, these things are expensive as hell. And fortunately, there's this company called Cabri. It makes the gimbal Cabri G2 for all you non-helicopter pilots. It's a 3-bladed system. It's a baby A-Star, which is what the police and news people fly. I've flown I've rented them and stuff like that, the bigger ones. And I just fly like a little 2-seater. So it's funny, whenever I fly a bigger one, I'm always paranoid that the door's open because I'm used to the door touching me as I'm sitting there flying. What is Bill Burr like in real life? I am an inquisitive person. I try to stay just ahead of my depression. And if I'm learning something new, it's exciting, it's challenging, it's embarrassing because I'm making mistakes, but I don't have to listen to the demons. It shuts them up, okay? They start talking around 11:15, 11:16 every night. And that's when the booze used to come. Not anymore, though. Next one. There we go. Did you get paid as like a hand model like back in the day? When is Bill Burr gonna shut up? No. When is Bill Burr going on tour? Great question. I just started up my umpteenth thousandth tour this year. And this is my favorite hour and a half that I've been doing on stage. I'm getting ready to do a special. It's an unbelievable amount of fun to be on the road right now because there's so much serious stuff going on. People need to laugh and they need something silly. Actually, if there's any comedians watching, if you're feeling the gloom that most of us feel, go on stage and just try to be a little silly. It actually makes you lighter. I can't explain it. When did Bill Burr move to LA? I moved here with my lovely wife in September 2007. And 2 weeks later, I bought a Prius. I just went all in. When did Bill Burr start comedy? I started comedy in March of 1992, 32 years ago. I started at Nick's Comedy Stop. I started in Boston. I've always believed that I have lived a charmed life because what are the odds that I wanted to be a stand-up comedian and I was living in Boston, the greatest stand-up comedy scene in the country, I feel, and it just had absolute murderer's row of headlining comics there that you could learn from. Kevin Knox, Frank Santarelli, Steve Sweeney, Don Gavin, Tony V, Bob Seibel, Rich Seisler, all of these guys. They all had their different own styles. Kenny Rogerson, Mike Donovan. One of the best things about starting off in Boston was you knew what killing was. Where I went down to this tri-state area and I saw some of those city comics and people like that. Oh, dude, I slayed, I killed. And I remember thinking, like, I mean, you had a good set. I wouldn't say you killed. You weren't Noxie Tuesday night at Nick's Comedy Stop killing. All right, here we go. How did Bill Burr end up on The Mandalorian? I ended up on The Mandalorian through Jon Favreau, who listened to my podcast, used to always hear me making fun of Star Wars and thought it was funny. Ended up meeting him at a mutual friend's birthday party. He goes, you know, there's a part in there that we're writing right now and we think you would be good for it. And I was like, you know, John, I got to be honest with you. I always kind of make fun of Star Wars. Not in a malicious way. It's just, I just see people really enjoying something and I just know, well, that's an easy hit. If I make fun of it, I can really just watch them get upset. And, you know, it fills up my day for whatever reason. He goes, no. He goes, I know, I've heard it. I think it's hilarious. I think your fans would think it was funny if you were on this show. By then, you know, my better half, Nia, was kicking me under the table. And I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. So I get down there, and the first scene I'm doing, I'm in a spaceship. And I'm the only guy that looks like a person. Everybody else has all this crazy makeup on. And I'm sitting in there, and I literally feel like I'm in the Muppets Take Manhattan. So we're going to rehearse the scene, and I'm trying not to laugh. The actors were so amazing, that all went away. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get my ass kicked in this. And I was totally locked in, and I ended up having a great time. John showed me a trailer of the first season of The Mandalorian. My jaw was on the ground because it was like a spaghetti Western. It would look like Clint Eastwood was doing Star Wars, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I almost stuck my foot in my mouth and didn't get in this. And it's one of my favorite things I've ever done in my career, and I will say Star Wars fans are cool as hell. Okay, there we go. I'm getting a little defensive. Is Bill gonna wrap this up? Was Bill ever gonna get a hair system? Is Bill ever gonna admit that it's not us, it's him? Is Bill Burr a Patriots fan? Yes, absolutely. All the way back to Jim Plunkett. I love the Patriots, whether they're good or bad, and I actually really enjoy how much fans are giving me a rough time right now because the Patriots aren't good, because all I hear is we're so relieved that you're not kicking our ass anymore. Is Bill Burr a drummer? That's debatable. I play drums. I always say I'm a guitar-centered drummer. I'm a dad drummer. You know what I mean? If you need like a cover, I can do a decent cover. I could be in a wedding band, but an actual drummer, like, you know, somebody comes in with a riff, you have to come up with the drum part that fits that and not only complements it, hopefully elevates it. That's a musician. Is Bill Burr in Reservation Dogs? Yes, I am. I play Coach Bobson. They actually asked me to come back a second time, but unfortunately I was editing a movie I did called Old Dads, so I didn't get to do it, and it kills me because they wrapped up that show. They were building something, and the people I worked with on that, you know. Don't listen to these people that talk about Hollywood. There's a lot of great people in this business. All right, is Bill Burr nice? Am I nice? You would have to ask other people. I try to be nice. All right. Is Bill Burr political? I don't watch CNN. I don't watch Fox News. I don't pay attention to elections. However, I'm more interested on what corporations are doing and what they're getting away with and why people are allowing it and why, if you're running for office, if you start to say that that's what they're doing, they just tar and feather you. I like what's behind it is kind of what fascinates me. Does Bill Burr go to therapy? Yeah. I haven't in a while. I will say that the biggest change for me is I took mushrooms. What I love about that drug is it doesn't make you want to do more. It makes you want to deal with your life. Bill Burr, Bill Hader. Oh, to choose between the two? I mean, that's a no-brainer. You got to go Bill Hader all day. Bill Hader is arguably the greatest impressionist I've ever seen. I fucking love Bill Hader. And the fact that you would even have my name next to his, and the directing and the writing that he did on Barry, Bill Hader is like ridiculously underappreciated by all those foofy award shows. It's ridiculous. This guy's a monster talent. And I think it's time he gets his goddamn hardware. What do you think of that? Does Bill Burr start on time? Usually not, because we have to have yonder bags, and that's your guys' fault. Because you fucking assholes, every 5 seconds, you got to sit there and film, oh my God, what's my life right now? And then you edit it like CNN and Fox News to make me look as bad as possible to try to get me in trouble so you can get some more friends. I was here on time, right? I am on time. All right, I don't know how that yonder shit works. Did Bill Burr write F is for Family? I wrote on it. I co-created the show with the great Mike Price. Michael was the captain of the ship. It was a big writer's room. There was 10 people in the room, including myself. And that's another question people have, is my dad like Frank? Frank was an amalgam of all of our dads, and I actually think towards the end he was more me than anything. Bill Burr, Adam Sandler. This is about that movie, Leo. I am blown away by, first of all, how great the writing was on it, how cool Adam was to work with. I did get in the booth with him a couple of times. He's widely regarded out here as just the nicest guy. And he literally is that guy. Shows up, basketball shorts, big hoodie. What's going on? He's just awesome. I made him laugh a couple times, which was like the biggest thrill in my life. But the big thing about that movie that I love is the amount of kids of all ages and parents that have come up to me and said how much they related to it, which I really think is a testament to everyone that wrote. The writing on it was just next level. Bill Burr, next one. Best stand-up. I have ones that I like for a personal reason, and somebody brought this one up. I did this bit on some benefit. Steve Jobs has died, and I did a bit making fun of him. It was something about how they said he changed the world. It was basically making fun of how he took credit for everything. And it's not on any of my specials, it's not on any albums or CDs. And I remember doing it and knowing that it was only gonna be there. Didn't save it for a special, and that it would be this cool thing. And then I also loved it because it was a really rich crowd. They were like auctioning off guitars and people paying like 6 figures for them. So I felt like their reaction, the way I was making fun of them, was like they actually knew the guy, which made it even more enjoyable to do the bit. Who is Bill Burr's opener? When you go to see me live, I don't bring cupcakes on the road. I'm not looking for a career opener. Everybody that's opened for me has gone on to headline and crush it. Paul Verzi, who just shot a special, he used to open for me. He hasn't opened for me now in like 6 years. We still work a couple of times a year together. Joe Bartnick's another guy that moved on. Joey B. And right now I've been working with Dean Del Rey, Bianca Cristevao, and Nate Craig. There's an energy you put out as a comedian when you're doing new stuff. There's an excitement, you're present in all of that, and it's contagious. And when I watch them trying out new stuff, I don't want to be the dud, on the show. I want to do something too. So I think it's really important to bring somebody that you believe can make it. All right, Bill Burr. Let's see here. Bill Burr, Elvis. He was the first, I feel like, post-television superstar and had to deal with a level of fame where there was no roadmap. He's the original behind the music. And if you look, he made every fucking mistake. Surrounded himself with yes men, did drugs, married a 16-year-old. I mean, he just did everything. I don't want to get into this too much, but you know what I mean. Died alone on a toilet. Bill Burr. Fenway. That was something that was so big, I think I only recently thought about it. I'll never forget just being on stage and seeing Fenway Park, because we were out in center field. My family, we used to always sit out in right field. It was a great time. And to be able to come back all of those years later, to get that kind of love from my home city was incredible. And it's not something that I will ever forget. Those questions all seem like they were from fans. I'm surprised it wasn't meaner.